Okay, that went smoothly. Okay, so participatory budgeting is on the agenda because we had talked about a pilot program which Pete had given us some background on as to a limited amount of money which would be given to each district, and somehow within each district we or whatever body would be allowed to propose projects or propose ways to give out the money. But there's been a change to that, and I'll save that for Councilmember Corrales, but what he is hoping is that because of changes to the amount of budget, that we would have more at our disposal, but if we did participatory budgeting, he would then be precluded from writing separate memos requesting money out of that budget. And so I think what he wants is our buy-in, that to give him that flexibility to be able to request funds for projects as they come up, rather than us limiting ourselves to a smaller pot. I believe it was $250,000, a smaller pot which wouldn't go as far. So again, I'll let him address that to you, but that's the background on it, so that when he addresses that subject, then you'll have a little bit of background.
Budgeting, and this is why I think I was hesitant initially when we had spoken last month before having a full understanding of what it was that the parameters would be, to say we're fully in. The mayor certainly knew, and I expressed my interest to you guys, and you all expressed your interest back in regards to participating in that. In my conversations back with the mayor, he was very strict in regards to anybody who opted in, any district that opted into participatory budgeting would be restricted to the $250,000 for the district, and that's it. I would not have been able to participate or draft any other budget documents. And since that that $2.5 million that we had projected back in February, since then there's been an increase of $3.7 million in the Essential Services Fund. I went back to the mayor and said, would we get another $370,000 because that's split by 10, right, again? And he said no. So, so everybody else, all the other council representatives would have had that extra $3.7 million to draft budget documents on, and we would essentially, as District 3, been excluding ourselves from that and only been really been able to tie it into the $250,000. I just felt it wasn't a wise move. I did push him to say, hey, look, I mean, this is what we're trying to participate. At least let's make it fair. Let's give us a share of that extra $3 million as well, and then maybe we can do it. There was no movement there. So what I did do is attempting to sort of bend the rules a little bit. I still put in for $100,000 in participatory budgeting. So I did budget documents, and I put one budget document in that asked for $100,000. And my asks were pretty low. I didn't ask for anything, outstanding. The only thing was really in reallocating of funds. There's a number of things we're doing for public safety, and we're taking it from our police staffing reserve fund. And so I was asking for that, a chunk of that to come out of the essential services rather than the staffing reserve fund. Other than that, there was really no other major big asks. So what I said was, well, maybe one of the asks I can do is for participatory budgeting. But I cut it down. I did not want to go to the 250 mark because I figured that would probably already be a no since that was the offer in the beginning. So what I did was I put forward for $100,000. Whether we'll get it or not, that's now up to how we can get support from the other council districts. And it may be something other council districts, what I think at least it'll do is it'll present the conversation to where other council districts can say, hey, could we have a smaller piece of the pie for participatory budgeting and still be able to write budget documents? I think that to me, makes a lot more sense. And so that's what I did. It's certainly not within the parameters that our mayor had initially put out, so I know that. So if he says, I'm sorry, kick it back, we can't do that, then I have to accept that. But if we can let it go forward and we discuss it on council, it may be something that we can actually get.
I so distinctly remember we did that a few years ago. We ended up with $100,000 money, and we actually had that all-day event at Germania Hall where we did our participatory budgeting with that money. So it certainly isn't something new, so I would hope it would be an ask that they would grant.
Yeah, I was at that Germania Hall event, yeah. And I don't know if that was actual funds that were utilized. I couldn't tell you only because I didn't see that through to the end. I was at that participatory budgeting meeting, but I don't
We were told
know.
we had 100,000 to spend in our district. We were just to report back on how the group as a whole would request that the money be spent. We don't know what it actually got spent on.
I think that was honestly just a exercise. Yeah. So what I think it was,
Exercise for the students.
it was an exercise in regard to if you had $100,000. That's how I understood it.
We
So,
didn't have the 100.
because this was also done during the recession, so I could probably guarantee you that there was not $100,000 to have been spread around. The reason why Sam even brought it up now was because there is
Okay.
some money. So he's basically saying, here it is. If you want to participate in this, here are your parameters. I thought they were just too tight in order to do that.
So if they grant it, that's my.
So if they grant it, there is.
how we can do
So if we get that for our district, and there is $100,000, and it's written in the budget document that I'll be working with the CLC to do that, because that's one of the ideas was you had to have a group that you couldn't just say there's $100,000 for me to decide what I want to do with it. Participatory budgeting. So this is the group obviously mentioned, and certainly as I had said before last month, we'd want to get the other neighborhoods involved as well. So.
Okay, just a quick comment from me and then Tina. I think that your proposal was a great compromise, and I believe that everybody here, although there's questions, I think we want you to have that flexibility to be able to decide when it's appropriate to ask for more money for specific projects. That's just my feeling, but you guys can weigh in. Tina, and then